In my opinion, easily one of the best parts of the Race and Rescue line is the roster of characters that got new variants for it. Typically, expanded universe lines will just give us miscellaneous racers, or will just give us Radiator Springs cars, but this line gives us both racers, most of which are significant ones from all three Cars movies, and it also gives us Radiator Springs cars, and it also gives us new variants of miscellaneous emergency vehicles from throughout the Cars series. And also Kathy Copter, she doesn't really fit into one of those categories. I'm so happy whenever we get new expanded universe Radiator Springs car variants, since they're easily my favorite characters to collect in the entire Cars diecast line. And while Sarge certainly isn't my favorite Race and Rescue car, Sarge is one of my all-time favorite Cars characters, so getting a new variant of him to add to my collection is really exciting for me. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another review, and to another Race and Rescue diecast review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Sarge. I picked this guy up at a Target today. I didn't even know he was really hitting stores widely just yet. He's part of the second wave to include Race and Rescue cars, where I believe he's the only new release. He's the fourth Race and Rescue single, following McQueen, Chick, Hicks, and Mater. Unfortunately, I still haven't found Mater. Hopefully I will soon, but hey, for now, we got Sarge, the next car in line, so I'm certainly not complaining. He has been out for a little while, but again, not really hitting stores widely just yet. My good friend Cars Ignite 95 actually found him at like an auto parts store a good month or two ago, so he has been floating around in some random places. But yeah, I was pretty surprised to see him at Target today. I really like the inclusion of Sarge in the Race and Rescue line. Not every Radiator Springs character was given a new variant for this series, but most of the ones that were make perfect sense. Sarge being former military, it makes perfect sense that he would be part of this rescue team, able and capable to help people out in the case of an emergency. In addition to that, we have cars like Sheriff, of course Red, Mater, who has this whole unique tow rig setup, and even Sally, who's a kind of a more goofy out there one, is using her proficiency in traffic cones to help people by putting cones down. You know, I do like that we got cars that pretty much made sense for this line. While I would have loved to get cars like Ramon or Fillmore, they don't fit with the theme as well. Sarge, of course, is carrying a fire extinguisher, not unlike his pit crew variant from the first movie. This is very similar in concept, with him holding an accessory in basically the same place. But in addition to that, he does have some other design changes. Primarily, his felt roof here is different, but one of his other accessories is different too, which we'll get to when we take this guy out of the packaging. Now, speaking of the packaging, I've said it before and I'll say it again, guys. I absolutely adore the Race and Rescue card back style. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. It makes me wish that this is what we have had. It makes me wish that this is what we had for the packaging style for the last few years, instead of this one that I know a lot of us are getting really tired of. It's so bold. It stands out so well with this big fiery explosion in the background and the sort of yellowish gold designs on the side, all the sparks flying everywhere. It's bright. It stands out. It looks really, really great. Of course, Sarge's artwork here is just a modified version of his typical character art. Moving on to the back. Whoa. Moving on to the back of the packaging, you can see all three of the first three Race and Rescue cars, McQueen, Chick, and Mater. Again, I've taken a look at McQueen and Chick in the past few weeks, but unfortunately, I'm yet to find Mater. But now, let's get Sarge here out of the package, and it's just so cool to have a new Sarge. It's not every day this happens, although I will say this is the second Sarge I've gotten this year, since I did get the 2025 pit crew member Sarge, since I actually didn't have him before. So here is Race and Rescue Sarge out of the package, and he's looking pretty good. First off, really the first thing that caught my eye with this item is the new facial expression. I love that we're at a point where nearly every new character variant in the Cars diecast line gets a brand new facial expression. It was the case with the GRC last year, and it's been the case with Race and Rescue this year. This is a very good, angry, stern Sarge expression. Of course, all of Sarge's diecast facial expressions are just different variations on Sarge being angry, but this one is a pretty solid one. Probably not my all-time favorite Sarge diecast expression, but it is one that really fits with the character. Now, something that I didn't really notice at first, is that Sarge's design changes actually go beyond just the fire extinguisher on his side and the felt roof being a bit different. If you look closely, you can see that the star on Sarge's hood is actually a slightly different color. Instead of being a stark white, it's been changed to a tan color that more closely matches the Race and Rescue logo that they put on his roof, which is pretty interesting and honestly pretty cool. It's such a subtle detail, I didn't even notice it at first. Another super subtle detail is that the numbers on Sarge's side have been replaced with the word rescue. And just to make sure I don't miss it later on, there's a third tiny small detail change. Sarge has a little star here on the back. They just gave him that little tiny star there. So many little small details that are changed that don't even need to be changed, and that's why I love these new expanded universe items in the main line. I'm not the biggest fan of them taking up so many slots in the main line. I know a lot of us aren't, but they always go above and beyond. Those are 3 details on Sarge that they really didn't need to include, and I absolutely love that they did. Now, again, one of the main draws of the Sarge is the fire extinguisher, and as you can see, it's very similarly attached to him, just like the Pickeroo variant's oil can. I wouldn't be surprised if these two used basically the same mold for Sarge, right? And then this is just a plastic accessory that's slipped on during the assembly process when they're connecting the chassis to the rest of the car. The fire extinguisher itself looks pretty good. There is something a little funny to me about the fact that Sarge's only major, accessory, his only major way to fight the fire is with one single fire extinguisher. But hey, it's helpful, it's useful, and knowing Sarge, he's probably barking out orders to everybody, being useful in several ways by telling everybody what they should be doing. Fire extinguisher itself looks pretty good, and it is a very stable plastic piece. It's not going to come off unless you really, really try to rip it, and even then I think it is still put on there very well. Sarge's typical military badge has been covered up by a Race and Rescue logo, and we have another huge one here on the roof. I've said in the past that I'm really not the biggest fan of how this looks. I don't think it's necessary for Sarge to have a huge logo on his roof. I think it just looks kind of goofy. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to have something up there. It's just kind of weird to have something up there. I don't know. But in universe, I guess it does kind of make sense. Jeeps, of course, have these sort of felt roof coverings. So to have it decorated in a different way makes perfect sense. But yeah, I don't know, not the biggest fan. Although I do like the fact that they changed the color of the logo to match Sarge's color scheme a bit better, making it beige with the Race and Rescue writing being sort of this maroonish color. And I still really like that Race and Rescue logo with the radiator cap mountain also making up 2 letter R's. Very, very clever. It does seem kind of redundant, doesn't it, on the top and on the sides. I would rather just have the top be blank and just keep it on the sides, but whatever, not a big deal. We have these stripes on the side here. I don't know what these are supposed to represent. I think they are just a fun design detail. I would love if maybe they were some sort of reference to actual military emergency vehicles. That could be a pretty cool point of inspiration. I don't think that's the case. I actually looked into, before filming this review, U.S. military emergency Jeeps, and I found that Willys Jeeps, which is the type of Jeep Sarge is, were actually used in the U.S. as emergency vehicles occasionally. As you can see here, this is one from 1955, which somebody restored. So that is pretty cool to see that that's actually a thing that was done. And yeah, it would have been cool if maybe they took some inspiration from that. I don't think that was the case, but I do really like how this Sarge design looks, regardless of, if they took inspiration from a real thing or not. I will say there are 3 tan stripes here, and Sarge's little rank badge has 3 stripes on the top and 3 on the bottom. Maybe that was where that came from. Oh, and look, there's a star. Like how there's a star in the middle there. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Maybe that was the inspiration, or maybe it was simply just a cool little detail that they decided, because I do think it's a cool little detail. I think it probably just exists as a I think it just exists as as a detail on the side. Moving on to the back is something that I actually didn't notice until I had this item in hand. Sarge's typical tire on the back has actually been replaced with a little race and rescue first aid kit. Look, it even has a little briefcase handle and everything. Oh, I really love this version of the logo. Very thin line work and all white. It looks really, really nice. And would you believe me if I told you that they colored in the gas canister on Sarge's back? Look, the little X and the buckle have been painted black. Has that ever happened before? I don't even think the Precision series did that. This is like when the GRC went out of their way to fix Miguel Camino. This is something that has just never happened on Sarge. That is so insanely cool. Got the 4-1 World War II license plate there. There is a look at the other side. And finally, there is a look at the base. Like all the race and rescue cars, this is a pretty well-designed Sarge that goes out of its way to add some new fun details to the character. As far as the line goes, I think it is one of the weaker entries, but Sarge is a very necessary character to have in a line like this, and Sarge is also a character that probably in universe wouldn't have all that many design changes, so it does feel pretty appropriate for him, this design, him having this look. They really went out of their way to add little subtle changes to Sarge to still make him look like the same character, but also just make him different, even in ways where it wasn't necessary, like writing rescue on the side, adding the stripes, changing the color of the star. It really shows you that they are going out of their way with these variants to make them look different, even when they don't need to, and I really appreciate that. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this item in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.